As the weather in Gauteng gets colder, temperatures have dropped significantly since yesterday. The South African Weather Service says the cold front may last a few days and that more frequent cold spells are expected as winter arrives. Now, Johannesburg emergency services are prepared to respond swiftly to any incidents that may arrive. Spokesperson Robert Mulaudzi joins us now for more on this. Good morning, Robert. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
Good morning, Asma Shaba, and good morning to the viewers.
Has the cold front officially arrived in Johannesburg, and which parts of the province will be most affected?
Yes, most parts of the city of Johannesburg from last evening, residents started feeling some cold snap in most parts of the city of Johannesburg. Hence, we had to issue this statement as soon as we received a warning from the South African Weather Service that we will receive extremely cold temperatures, which will force, our residents to use all sorts of heating devices to try and warm themselves. And in the process, they might those heating devices might make them vulnerable to fire incidents, since we know that during winter season, we normally see an increase in terms of the number of fire incidents, especially in our informal settlements, because most of our residents in the informal settlements, those who doesn't have electricity, they're using paraffin stoves, they're still using candles, and also braise or imbawula, which most of the times, it creates a lot of fire incidents with loss of life in most of the times.
Now, Johannesburg Emergency Services, you've said that you are prepared to respond swiftly to any incidents. What are the most common hazards that we can expect to encounter during the cold snap, and how do you intend to address them?
Yes, most of our residents, they are using braise or imbawula, which mostly they take it to bed. So when they because of the toxic fumes which they're using inside that mbawula to burn, it mostly releases some toxic fumes which might make them not to wake up the following day. So hence we plead with them to take it out just before they go to bed. And also, as and when they're using it, they need to use it in a well-ventilated area. We also have a issue of like paraffin stoves, which are mostly left unattended. Maybe if they're cooking, they might leave there unattended. Kids might come in there and maybe try and, touch it, and it might fall, or it might accidentally fall. In the process, you might have a fire incident in those areas. So what we have done as a fire service, we in the last 2 months, we have been going out to informal settlements like Poison's informal settlements, and most of the informal settlements in the inner city, which we know that we normally receive fire incidents, to try and educate our residents about the safe use of these heating devices. Most of them, they still use, cold drink bottles or beer bottles as a candle holders, which might be dangerous when those candles get heated. So we're just showing them some of the safety measures which they can do to try and prevent fire incidents. Of course, not forgetting, the residents in our maybe townships and, suburban areas, because they normally use heaters also. And most of those heaters, they are mostly left unattended. Maybe one might leave a heater in a room while that heater is not attended, maybe doing other household stuff. And then in the process, you might find that that room might catch fire. So we those are some of the messages we are trying to spread out there, that winter is upon us, so we need to make sure that all these heating devices are well looked after while in use.
All right. So, Robert, what should residents do in case of a fire or other emergency related to heating devices?
Yeah, we're advising them to quickly evacuate, and then as soon as they evacuate, they need to call our emergency services number, which is 011-375-5911. However, we are inviting them, to visit our centers, because we believe that as a fire service, prevention is the future. We need to empower our communities with the necessary skills. So we've got Be-Safe centers which operate on a weekday from Monday to Friday, These DSF centers are spread in all 7 regions of the city, where residents, they don't have to pay anything. Most of these centers are based at inside our fire station, so they're able to come in there in a group or as a family, where we teach them about life and fire safety educational programs, just to make sure that if there's a fire incident, what is it that they can do, the numbers to call and all that. So we prefer, our residents to use these kind of centers so that they've got the necessary skills to deal with emergencies as and when they occur in their respective communities.